Hey, you, ask better questions. You want to know the secret to supersizing and growing your business and having the best business or the exact business you want? It is to ask better questions, not only of yourself, which is where everything starts, right? But also of other people. Well, today is day 96 of our Supersize Your Business Annual Challenge, and I think we should talk about this today. Our brains are always going, right? Our mind is always thinking. We're always thinking. It's always going. It's always asking questions, evaluating situations. In the olden days, it was, is this going to kill me? Nowadays, it's, is this going to stress me out or cause me to freak out about something or have some kind of an emotional event that I don't want to have? But questions are one of the most powerful ways to create what it is that we want in our business and in our life. The quality of the questions, the better the questions are that we ask. Sneak another drink. The better understanding we're going to have of things, the better we're going to show up. It's all about just being curious. I had learned a long time ago. I guess I was always a curious kid, but I learned a long time ago after I got really serious and went to engineering school and did all that, that asking questions opens up so many opportunities for us. It also shows that we're interested and curious and want to know more, and that conveys interest to the other person that we're asking the questions of. Now, I am a recovering non-asker when it comes to asking for help with things. And there are a lot of people like me out there that we just don't want to ask. But I learned when I was in, actually, this was my biggest aha from the whole ClickFunnels Certified Partner Program. It was a self-paced program when I took it. And you would do the lesson, and then you'd apply the lesson, and then you'd turn in your homework. And that's all fine and good. But if you're me, who's older, not familiar with any of the things that I was learning, I would sit and I would try to figure something out. Sometimes for like over a week, sometimes 2 weeks, I would struggle with something and try to figure it out. And as soon as I would get up the courage, because it takes courage. You have to step out of your comfort zone to ask questions, depending on the situation. Not always, but sometimes. That's why I say practice on small things first, and then it becomes part of who you are. And once you attach it to yourself and your identity, asking questions, being curious, showing up with an open mind becomes automatic and natural for us, for you, and for me. So I learned, and what happened is I would type up the question, and I'd hit send. And before anybody else could even read that question, all of a sudden, the answer became crystal clear to me, and I knew exactly what to do. This happened like 4 or 5 times before I said, okay, instead of waiting when I have a question and I'm struggling, and I've tried to figure it out myself, because I believe we all should be self-starters and at least do a couple of things to figure things out ourselves before we ask. Because I think it's also disrespectful if we don't even try to figure things out ourselves and we just ask. I see that in a community that I'm involved in right now, where I think people just do it for attention. They ask questions for attention, which shouldn't be the intent of us asking a question, right? That's, again, my humble opinion. You don't have to agree with it. Some people are just like, I'm going to shortcut this process. I'm going to ask everything I want to know and need to know, and people are going to tell me, and I don't have to figure it all out myself. I will say that's great for you, but it will never be how I operate, because I want to be a problem solver. I want to be a solution creator and solution finder in every area and aspect of my life. Why? Because it helps me to maintain my personal power and my personal responsibility. And guess what? If you're building a business, you are personally responsible, whether you want to be or not. I think it's why many businesses fail, is the owner's just like, nah, I don't want to take on that responsibility. I don't want to make those choices. I don't want to choose the path that's hard right now for me to have it be easy for the rest of my life. I know, mind-blowing. So, better questions. How do you go about asking better questions? Number one, the quality of our questions determines the quality of the answers. The quality of the answers determines whether we get the information we need or not in any given situation. Asking open-ended questions. Questions that cannot be answered with a yes or no is my definition of open-ended questions. So if I ask, how are you today? You can't say yes or no, right? I mean, you can, but it's going to sound silly. You're going to have to actually come up with different ways of describing how you're doing today. Maybe you have a headache. Maybe you're doing awesome. Maybe you just landed your first big high-ticket client. Whatever it is, if I ask you an open-ended question, you have the opportunity to give more than a yes or no answer. And in that lies the depth that we need to help anybody with anything. And if you're a business owner, guess what? Your number one job is helping all of your other people be successful, helping your customers be successful. And that means listening and answering questions, but waiting for the whole question to be formulated by the person before you answer it. Today I challenged the Supersize You folks to ask 3 questions, at least 3 open-ended questions before offering their opinion or sharing something that they want to share. Unless, of course, the person's like me and they come in and they ask a direct question and they want a direct question or a direct answer right away. They don't want the whole story about it. And I have a story about why that bothers me, but I'm not going to share it today. It takes too long. Okay, so what are we going to do? I challenge you to use powerful, open-ended questions in the next situation that arises for you where it's most appropriate to ask a question. I will give you a hint. It is always most appropriate to ask an open-ended question to get more information before offering your opinion or saying anything. Our job, in my opinion, is to help people to become problem-solving, self-sufficient, amazing human beings and to realize that they have everything they need already inside of them if they just believe that they do. And so my job as any type of a leader is to help them to discover that for themselves if they don't know it already. Sometimes it just takes a little reminder. So use powerful questions to uncover needs and solutions in the next situation that arises. I guarantee if you're a business owner, you get this opportunity several times a day, if not several times an hour, if not every other minute. That was my experience anyway, or has been my recent experience and my long-term experience. And then do a little reflecting today. Ask yourself, do I ask open-ended questions? Do I seek to understand, or do I just try to solve problems for everybody else as quickly as humanly possible? And if so, then there's room for improvement there. What have you missed? Or I asked myself today, what have I missed in my relationships, in my businesses, in my other activities by not asking and pausing to listen to and really listen to someone else's situation, so before I formulate a response, I actually understand what they're talking about, right? That shows respect for them and curiosity for them. Well, I love to ask questions like that because it helps me to understand the people that I'm here to interact with and work with better. And then finally, how would your influence grow if you were known to ask the most powerful questions? If you were known as a person that asks insightful questions, guess what? That makes you the most valuable player on any team or in any community that you happen to be participating in. Any group, any nonprofit, any for-profit, anything, any mastermind. If you can ask the best, most insightful questions to get the person that you're talking to thinking for themselves, always the best thing, you will get a reputation of being, number one, interesting as hell, because people are interested in people who are interested in them. People are interested in businesses that are interested in them solving their problems and getting success. It's human nature. So that's it. That's all I've got. Oh, not all I've got for today. We are covering the SOAP framework, which I don't have my SOAP framework. Yes, I do. Handy. SOAP framework. We are going to pick a communication challenge area, and maybe yours is like me, listening, 2 ears, 1 mouth, or maybe it's asking better, more open-ended questions. And so what we're going to do is we're going to think about our story or our situation today with respect to the SOAP framework. We're going to pick a challenge area, and we're going to say, well, what's my current story about that? And write down a couple bullet points, and then what's my desired story? What do I want my story to be with respect to this topic of communication? I think listening, asking questions are both great areas to explore. Maybe accepting feedback. There's so many communication related things. Setting boundaries, sharing expectations. Do you have a process for that, etc.? But pick what your current situation is, and we will dig into the SOAP framework this week in addition to our regular topics for the challenge. Why? Because there's a couple of frameworks and a couple of tools I want to make sure we talk about every month. And there aren't enough days in the month to cover all the tools that I want to talk about in each month. So sometimes I'm going to double things up. And others, I'll just leave for a later time and we'll discuss and use different tools and find different tools as we need them and the situation calls for them. All right. Have an awesome day. If I can help you, all you have to do is ask. And I will, of course, be with you tomorrow.